Well, hello again and welcome to the Friday afternoon communique from my office on this Mother's Day weekend. I was home earlier this week and Marcella received a call. We didn't know who it was at the time. Marcella didn't know who was calling, but it was my aunt. And she called, and the first words I think that were out of her mouth is this Grandma Redicop? And Marcella's immediate response was, I think you've got the wrong, and then she stopped herself and she realized, actually, yes, it was Grandma Redicop. Last Friday, I had the privilege of marrying my son Victor to Kiana Cron. Kiana has a little girl named Ariella, and when I married them, I pronounced them man and wife, and would have, by virtue of that, included myself and Marcella as Ariella's grandparents. We are known as Nana and Papa, but that is a new reality for us on this Mother's Day weekend. This is the first year that Marcella celebrates being not only a mother but also a grandmother. I was thinking a little bit of the marriage, and one of the things that every couple has to do when they get married is to produce a marriage license. I have a copy of one like this. And actually, as I was looking at this marriage license from a number of years ago, this is like 13 years ago, I realized that this is Marco and Myrna's son. I don't know, they have a photocopy of the marriage license still stuck in the marriage register, which the church has, but that's still here. So they need a marriage license, and they also need a marriage registrar from the officiant. And this church has a marriage register. It's been active since the church began back in 1972, and I was looking at the first page of the register, and I glanced my way down, and I realized that the officiant of the first wedding that took place in this church was officiated by the Reverend Al McVitie. And that name may not be familiar to you, but it is to Marcella and me, because Al was the pastor who married us, and so it's a small world. He was the first pastor of this church, and pastored Marcella when she was in Calgary, and was in Abbotsford when we got engaged, and so the pieces came together. But just an interesting thing to see that. One of the things that a marriage register and a marriage license does is it permanently keeps a record of all those people who are officially married, who are husband and wife. And I thought about the fact that we as the church are called the bride of Christ. Christ is the bridegroom, and we as the church are the bride. And as I was studying this Sunday's text in John chapter 6, verse 37, let me get my Bible here. John chapter 6 and verse 37, Jesus is talking about himself as the bread of life. And he says, in the context of this, we'll talk more about this on Sunday, he says, all that the Father gives me will come to me, and the one who comes to me I will by no means cast out. And I thought about the picture of us being the bride of Christ and Jesus being our bridegroom, and he says to his bride, all that come to me that the Father gives to me, as the Father gives away the groom to the bride, my Father gives the bride to me, and I will never let them go. They are permanently registered on what the Bible calls the book of life in heaven. We will never be erased from that Lamb's book of life. We will forever be the bride of Christ. He will hang on to us. He will preserve us. We are secure. When all this world, all that is around us seems to be in constant flux and in constant change, we can rest assured that we are his, we are in his hands, and he will look after his bride. I hope that word encourages you today as it has encouraged me. God bless you.